Hey out there, it's Wake Angel 2001. I got another Sonic shirt on. Actually, this is the last one in my closet, so I'm either gonna have to start rotating back to the beginning or wear different characters on my shirt from now on. So, as promised, this is the Sonic Boom Vlogs. I still should talk about the short film Night of the Werehog, but you know, the show's already started, so let's get to that. So let's start with the airtime. 7 in the morning. Really, Cartoon Network? It's bad enough that I have not seen a single TV commercial advertisement for this show. All advertisement for this show has come from the internet, from Sega itself. The Sonic Boom event, which hyped it up, the like message boards online, but Cartoon Network itself completely silent about this. If you're a little kid who doesn't use the internet freely and is the target audience for the show, you wouldn't know it's premiering now unless you had an older brother or uncle or something that watches the show and would tell you about it. So, and 7 a.m.? Really? You're going to be premiering your brand new super hyped show that people have been talking about on the internet for several months, like actually over a year, that's how long this show has been hyped, and you're going to stick it at that time slot? 7 in the morning is where you stick the filler crappy shows you don't expect to catch on. Cause most children, they get up to watch Saturday morning cartoons at 8 a.m., not 7. I mean, and I'm serious that there's no advertisement. The only commercial I saw that was Sonic Boom related was one for the Sonic Boom video game that came on right before the show premiered. That doesn't count as advertisement for the show. I hope in the future they'll start giving commercials to advertise the show and maybe start re-airing it. I mean, there's no reason why they would stick it on this pathetic time slot. You know what they gave this morning? They gave 2 hours of Teen Titans Go reruns from 10 to noon. Like, you don't think that maybe you can stick your popular time slot with your new and interesting show that you're trying to get a broad audience with? No, you're gonna take a show that everybody has loudly claimed to hate ever since it premiered, and you're gonna give a 2-hour block of that in the best Saturday morning time slot? I mean, I don't understand how the Cartoon Network executives work. Like, I imagine it goes something like this. Hey, that new Thundercats cartoon is doing a great job of pulling in older audiences.
Cancel it immediately!
Hey, you know that DC Nation block has been doing a great job. People are really loving that Green Lantern animated series, and that Young Justice cartoon is packed full of DC nostalgia. It pretty much combines Static Shock with the Teen Titans and the Justice League. Pah! Get rid of both of them. You know, we've been getting message boards all over the internet about how much people absolutely hate the Teen Titans Go. It's one of the most reviled shows on our block. Do you think maybe we should renew it for 3 more seasons? Of course we should! Alright, so we got this new cartoon. It's based off of one of the most beloved characters of the past 20 years. It's already got a merchandise toy line, and Sega has invested in 2 new games for it right off the bat. It's a fully realized CGI cartoon, which already has a bunch of merchandising and a whole bunch of star power behind it. We're expecting this to do good. Bah! No one's gonna be interested in that. Just shove it away in the 7 a.m. time slot where no one will care about it, and stick more of those Teen Titans Go reruns in the good time slots at 10 a.m. Everyone will love this decision. I don't know. I think either that CEO is completely retarded, or he has nakedly open contempt for all the fans of his network. Like, cartoons are for babies. Our network shall cater to children younger than 7 years old, and anyone older than that should be moving on with their lives. Like, I have no idea what their motivation for sticking in this bad time slot is. Well, fortunately, we live in the age of DVR and and on-demand services. So hopefully they'll be able to they'll track the on-demand and DVR activity of this show rather than just looking at its ratings when it's on live. Because I'm pretty sure the show isn't going to get very good ratings in its time slot. But if we can support the show regardless, like by showing them like things that they would actually track, not by torrenting it or download or watching episodes on YouTube, but I mean using means that the channel can track to prove that it's being watched, then we can probably keep the show buoyed up and possibly get it moved to a better time slot down the line. Alright, but that's enough talking about the politics of Cartoon Network. Let's talk about the actual show. So there's 2 episodes. The first one was Sidekick, and the second one was Can an Old Man Crash on the Couch? Or something like that. It's like a sentence. So let's talk about Sidekick first. Okay, plot synopsis. Sonic is running through a canyon. That's a good way to start a Sonic show, with Sonic running through the Outback. That's how Sonic Heroes started too. And he's being chased by Dr. Eggman in his hovercraft. Or it's either he's chasing Eggman or Eggman's chasing him, one of those two. So they meet in the end of the canyon, and Dr. Eggman introduces Burnbot. This is actually the episode that was previewed to us. So Dr. Eggman says Sonic is going to be destroyed by Burnbot. And it's like, oh, so what does it do? Shoot fire or acid or something? No, he has claws. Painful claws. So why are you calling it Burnbot? So they do this cool thing where Sonic and Burnbot are running around spirals of this volcanic crater, and then they charge at each other, and Tails comes flying in on his biplane. I'm not going to call it the Tornado because it really doesn't look like the Tornado, but it is an awesome looking blue biplane. And Tails actually uses the Enter Beam from his watch that Sonic grabs onto and swings out of the way so that he can kick Burnbot and cause it to crash. But Burnbot manages to fire his claws up and damage the plane's wing, making the plane crash. Just as Eggman is taking Burnbot back for repairs, Sonic runs up to the plane and finds Tails injured in it. Like, he has char marks on his fur and everything. That's actually kind of cool, because a lot of times in these CG cartoon shows, it's hard to represent battle damage. Like, I remember in Transformers Prime, whenever the characters took hits or something, you rarely actually saw scratches or damage on their bodies, because modifying a CGI model would, be kind of pricey. But Sonic, seeing his little friend Tails, he does the actual responsible thing. He realizes that maybe an 8-year-old boy shouldn't be going into battle against evil robots and stuff. So he fires Tails. And he decides to put out trials for a new sidekick. So these trials are where we get to see the first cameos of Knuckles and Amy. Amy's kind of weird. Like she says that she introduces herself as if this is a professional interview, and Sonic's like, we know each other. Like, oh, okay, great. Well, do you know my skills? I can juggle and I can sing too. And as she starts singing, and then she says, I can also do improv. And then she starts singing in the voice of a salty sea dog type of guy or something, or some weird Italian dude, I think. Which is, what? It's funny. It's pretty out there and quirky and funny. It's just weird, because this is it's like they were going straight off the bat, showing us how different this Amy is from the insane, obsessed, lovey fangirl that we've had for the past decade. We also see Knuckles, who wants Sonic to be his sidekick. I think I'll call you Knuckles Jr. And we also see some other random characters, and a character wearing a cloak. And here's something funny. Dr. Eggman sees one of the flyers, and he decides to try out. Like, the archenemy wants to be the hero's sidekick. Someone's gonna make an unrequited love joke here, because Sonic and Eggman have a weird relationship. I mean, one day Eggman could be building a giant robot to try and kill him, and the other day he's asking to be his sidekick. It's a weird relationship. It's like Eggman is almost like a weird, quirky uncle to these people. And yes, we get the first cameos from Orbot and Cubot, although they don't talk a lot. Like, Orbot's really the kind that should be talking a lot, and but he only gets a couple of lines. Ooh, something is in my eye. All right, so the cloaked figure is actually revealed to be Tails, because Sonic really liked the cloaked figure, but then he reveals and he's Tails. Like, Tails, I didn't want you to be the sidekick. Like, oh yeah, give me one reason why. And apparently Sonic is hesitant to say that he's afraid to let him be the sidekick because he might get hurt. So instead he just... Oh, and by the way, this is when Eggman comes in and says, "You can't be the sidekick either, you're my arch enemy." Like, oh? Well, come on, I'm a technical genius, I can do all kinds of things for you. And then the Beaver comes in. There's this weird Beaver character who has this really annoying voice, kind of like Droopy, and he starts every sentence with the word "actually," and he corrects grammar. It's like everything about this character was engineered to be the most annoying, insipid thing in the universe. So Sonic says, "This guy is a great contender to be my sidekick." So they go. He takes them to an obstacle course where he puts them like on hoverboards. Although the Beaver guy just has this piece of wood, and he says that they had to get to the finish line at the end. And so they go. So Sonic, Tails, Eggman, and the Beaver guy go off, and Eggman uses like these weapons in his hoverboard to try and knock Tails down, and the Beaver guy falls and sits going like, "Actually, I think I'm going to curl up into a fetal position and cry for a little bit." And Eggman and Tails continue the obstacle course, and Tails gets back in his plane, and Dr. Eggman damages the wing of it, and Tails almost crashes, but Sonic catches him this time, and says that that's really why he shouldn't be the sidekick. And then Dr. Eggman comes back and says that this is all a plan to get them here so that he can use the new and improved Burnbot to destroy him. This time, the little cannons on Burnbot's chest shoot fireballs, so he's really a Burnbot, and they're fighting on a frozen lake. So Burnbot blasts the lake open, and Sonic falls in the water, and he still can't swim, even in this continuity. And Tails tries to pull him out, but Sonic's been waterlogged, so he's too heavy to lift. So Dr. Eggman melts more of the lake, and both Tails and Sonic fall under, and Sonic is pretty much done. He loses consciousness, and Tails, he manages to get underneath Sonic and swim them both to the surface and get them out, and then then Sonic is able to defeat Burnbot, and happy ending. And Sonic decides that it's okay for Tails to still be his sidekick because, hey, it's not like his life is any safer anyway. And then they do a quick ending with Knuckles and Amy disappointed that they couldn't be the sidekicks, and Knuckles like, Sonic's not working on as my sidekick, and Amy's like, "Can I be your sidekick?" And she starts juggling and singing the song again, and Knuckles is like, "I'll call you Knucklina." It was funny. This was like I said, I was kind of thinking that this would be sort of like an Adventure Time type show with quirky characters and like no real good or evil, just rivals in a way. And that's kind of what we got, isn't it? I mean, Dr. Eggman has a lot more in common with the Ice King than anything else in this show. So we have the we have Dr. Ice King, and we have Sonic and Tails, and it's funny. It's just a humorous little show. I mean it's different from Sad AM. Like there's no huge epic story, but the CGI looks really nice. The backgrounds look pretty good. The lighting and shadows are good. It doesn't. The animation isn't too stiff. It's nice and fluid, this is just a funny little vignette. It's not really anything It's not really anything super epic, but you have to remember, this is the first episode. And have you ever watched the first season of any show ever made? The characters always act like exaggerated stereotypes of themselves. It's because you need time for the characters to grow and develop. Usually by the second season they receive some feedback and they realize what works and what doesn't work. Like, do you remember the first season of American Dad? Roger used to spew mucus out every 4 hours, and he was only just getting acquainted with the idea of putting on disguises. But in later seasons, it turns out that Roger they retconned Roger's entire shtick to first of all, he only does weird, gross alien stuff when it suits the plot now, and like when he lactates mayonnaise or poops jewel-encrusted gold. Also, they retconned and said he had been living in society wearing various disguises for decades, and so was totally used to having personas that everybody outside would recognize. So yeah, that's a total retcon of a character. So it's entirely possible that what we see here in the first episode may not be fully indicative of what we see once the show actually gets more familiar later on. And then there's the second episode, Can an Old Man Crash on the Couch? And this one starts with a storm, and Sonic and Tails are in their little house, and Dr. Eggman comes in wearing a raincoat, and he says that his lair was destroyed in the storm, and while the robots are repairing it, he needs a place to stay, so he asks if he can stay with Sonic and Tails. Eggman promises he brought no weapons, and Sonic and Tails are good guys. They're not going to leave some poor old guy out in a storm, so they let him in. And what we basically get from here is a roommate from hell story. Because Dr. Eggman, he's like, he fills the refrigerator with his own food that he keeps in locked Tupperwares. He randomly comes up and challenges everybody to pillow fights. He's loud and obnoxious and messy and overly demanding. And this is the first time we get to see Styx. And Styx is like, are you kidding me? This is all ruse. Later on, he's gonna catch you off guard with his big old Destructobot. And this was a trailer moment. It's not like I'm paranoid or anything. And then she looks at her shadow and says, "Stop following me." Does quirky. Styx truly embodies the hilarious quirky behavior. And it's funny how they say just because you're paranoid doesn't mean that nobody's out to get you. Well, apparently she is paranoid, but she is vindicated. But we'll get to that later on in the episode, because Sonic is so annoyed by Dr. Eggman that it's gotten to the point where he's just gonna kick him out of the house. Like I can't stand him. He's a terrible roommate. I'm kicking him out. And Amy, this is where Amy shows another side of her personality besides crazy quirkiness. She's like the mediator one. She's trying to be she's the caring, motherly type. She's like, you shouldn't just be kicking him out. You should be talking to him about why he bothers you and working out your differences. So she sits everyone down so that they can talk to each other. And when the insults start flying, she says to use positive language. So Sonic starts phrasing them. And Dr. Eggman's like, you know what, you're right, I have been a terrible roommate. So from there, he tries to be a better roommate. He's like wants to play games with them. He's hanging out. He's doing nicer things, but he's exhausting. He's keeping Sonic and Tails up and not letting them sleep and all that. And keep in mind, this whole episode takes place over 2 days. Usually montages like this take place over like a period of a week or so, but this is 2 days. Like, one day he's the roommate from hell, the next day he's the overly affectionate roommate, and then the next morning Sonic and Tails are exhausted because they didn't get any sleep, and that's when Eggman reveals that this is all a ruse to get them too tired to fight back as he gets his giant Destructobot to kill them all. And with Cubot and Norbot. Well, Cubot and Norbot came along, but he says that they don't count because they don't have souls. He says that! And Orbot's like, oh, like wow. Okay, so the giant Destructobot. So of course Styx is like, I knew it, and he says, Destructobot, destroy Sonic and his friends. And then the Destructobot says, destroy home base. Like, what? No, don't destroy the home base. Destroy them. Destroy them now. Destroy home base quickly. Like, and they keep on like, there's still some bugs to work out. So the giant robot is heading back to Dr. Eggman's lair to destroy it. Like, oh no! And at first there's a point of hubris, but it says, if he destroys my base, I'm gonna have to stay here for real. So Sonic and Tails like, oh god, no. So everybody goes up to the base where the robot's starting to smash on the walls, but it's built pretty good, so it's not falling apart just yet. So Sonic tells Knuckles, Amy, and Sticks to distract them, while he, Tails, and Eggman work on deactivating the robot by hitting its twin kill switches. The only problem is Sonic and Tails are so exhausted that they keep falling asleep before they pull the switch, but then they fall asleep and let the switch go. So Eggman has to play his kazoo. Yeah, he played a kazoo earlier in the episode to wake them up. And so they both deactivate the robot, and its head falls off, and everything is over. And then the base blows up anyway, because so much damage has been inflicted on it since Sonic and Tails couldn't hit those kill switches fast enough because they were so tired. So Sonic and Tails still refuse to let Dr. Eggman stay with them, but they have a counter proposal. So they let Amy stay with him, so she starts to talk to Eggman about sharing their feelings or something, and Eggman's like, oh god no, and he runs away from her. So yeah, this episode does a better job of establishing the personalities of the side characters. Besides, the first episode, it was Tails and Sonic's story. We're trying to establish the two big mains and Dr. Eggman. In this episode, we actually get to see the whole personality quirks of the full cast, including Amy, who's apparently, like I said, she has a kind of a maternal lean to her as she tries to be the voice of reason. Amy's trying to be the smart, sensible one in this episode. After a fashion. And this episode's also pretty good. Again, it shows the series skews very humorously. It has a very Adventure Time level tone. The bad guy isn't really bad so much as he's just annoying and mischievous. And there's no huge stakes on the line. Dr. Eggman seems less like he's trying to kill Sonic to take over the world, as he's just trying to beat Sonic at his own game, because they're some kind of rivals. I mean, I'd almost swear they're from rival schools or something, and these are their crazy sporting events. So yeah, we're gonna get some more fleshing out as the show continues. Again, these are really early episodes. Don't judge the show as good or bad yet, because the first we got to get through this first season. We got to establish a whole bunch of stuff, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing it next time. And I'm also really hoping that they give this thing a better time slot, or at least that they'll re-air it. I mean they show the same episodes of Teen Titans Go 3 or 4 times a week. And even with Steven Universe, they show the episodes at least twice. So hopefully they'll set up a time slot thing where they show, and instead of just the initial time slot, they also show it at a later point. They'll rerun the episodes at another time in the week so that they can get more exposure. I'm not sure if maybe that's an in-house production thing. Maybe since Steven Universe and Adventure Time and Regular Show and Amazing World of Gumball, they're all made in-house, so to speak. They get more exposure on the network, while stuff that comes from other development studios, they get screwed. Seriously, this show is really getting screwed. I see more commercial advertisements for Tenkai Nights, and that show airs at 6:30 in the morning. And you know what? I didn't even know this, but apparently they're still giving Ben 10 Omniverse. Someone told me that they're still giving new episodes of it 6 a.m. I'm like, really? I thought they canceled Ben 10 Omniverse a long time ago, because my Toys R Us doesn't even carry Ben 10 toys anymore. Huh. But whatever. Okay, so this is the first Sonic Boom Vlog. I think that the show is turning out to be a pretty good thing. We should watch it a little longer, and hopefully it'll establish a good canon and continuity, and when we view these episodes in retrospect, they'll make a little bit more sense. Alright, so this is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.